I excelled as a junior. I didn't quite make it as a senior, although I did get a Scottish vest as an under-21, which I really enjoyed. I had two main coaches in my career, and they gave up so much. So you kind of want to give back. What I saw, which was brilliant, was all the older athletes mentoring the younger athletes. We had quite a lot of athletes who'd not been to the games before. So, but everybody was looking out for each other. Everybody was encouraging each other and supporting each other, even when they were in the same events. So I thought that was absolutely fabulous. The team performed superbly. I think almost everybody in the team, got a placing or a medal or a PB, one of those things. And there were just some fabulous and really exciting performances. We've got such a good community, whether you're in the road running committee or the executive committee or you're one of the officials.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by Jersey Spartans president Becs Orpin. How are we doing, Becs?
I'm smashing, thanks, Dan.
Good. I always start with the same kind of question, regardless who the guest is on my podcast. And that question is, have you always kind of been sporty growing up since a young age?
Since about 12, I think 12, 13, when I got into athletics. Before that, I would have considered myself athletically challenged in every way. I was the one of, there was 4 of us in the family, and I was the one who never came home with the rosette from sports day. And then, I don't know, puberty hit, and suddenly I could run faster than everybody else. So that's about the time I get into sport. And from then on, I tried everything. There were some things that I couldn't do. I really can't play volleyball, and I really can't play football. but everything else I tried, I was okay at. So that's about it.
Well, you touched on it there, and you were good at running. But do you remember the first time you went to an athletics track or went in a race, or what was your first experience of athletics?
I remember a couple of the girls in my year at school had gone. We talked about going to the athletics club, and it was just down the road from where we lived, and we talked about going, and they'd started going without me, and they admitted afterwards that because they didn't want me to beat them. So a couple of weeks later, me and one of the girls went down, and she was into long jumping, but the long jump coach wasn't there. So we went along to the sprints coach, Mr. B, and I remember him saying, "Oh yes, I wondered if we'd see you." That was one of my first memories, and I think that was off the back of the Glasgow schools. We had district championships, and I'd done quite well. Well, I'd won the Glasgow schools, equalled the record. I'd forgotten about that actually. So. And I joined the club, and that's what I did for since then, forever.
Yeah. How good was that time for you? Obviously, as an athlete, you were excelling, but how good was it socially as well to join a club?
Oh, that was great, because there were people that were just like you, and we had quite a big group. It was quite an age range, so there was me as a 12, 13-year-old up to women who were working, who were good athletes. So we all trained together, and interestingly, it was an all-female club. So the male club was Victoria Park. We were Glasgow EC, so it was great. And we went away on trips. My family weren't that wealthy, so we would holiday to my grandparents. So going away on other trips supported by the club was great. I mean, they were UK trips, but they were down to England. We were in the British Women's League and the Scottish League. So we travelled on buses an awful lot. It was great. It was really good. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned before that you won competitions and what have you. Looking back, what was the pinnacle of your kind of career, and what are you most proud that you achieved over the years?
What am I most proud of? I don't know. I mean, I excelled as a junior. I didn't quite make it as a senior, although I did get a Scottish vest as an under-21, which I really enjoyed. I went to the schools international, so I won Scottish schools titles and Scottish national junior titles. I don't know that there's one thing that I can pick out. It was just it was the one thing I was good at. I didn't excel at anything else, and this was the one thing that I was good at. And it built so much confidence in me, in myself, that I didn't really have before, that I just took into every other aspect of my life. And I think for me, if I hadn't had athletics and been successful at athletics, I don't think I would have been successful in other areas of my life. I wouldn't have had the confidence to be. So I mean, I would say it made me the person I am today, without a doubt. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, amazing. And obviously, you touched on it then briefly. I'm not totally sure what it means, but the Scottish Fest. What was that experience like? I'm guessing that's to be part of the Scottish team.
To be part of the national team.
Yeah.
So to get a Scottish cap, to be picked for your team. So to do it, I was picked at schools and juniors and university level, under 21. So to get a national vest was just brilliant. Yeah, it was. Yeah, very chuffed to that.
What was the experience there? Obviously, they're more kind of professional setup and more serious. And what was the whole kind of mood around camp like to be part of?
So that was quite funny. It was a good trip. I was in my first or second year at uni, I think, and there were about 4 or 5 of us from Glasgow Uni that were there. So I knew quite a few members of the team really closely, and we travelled down somewhere in Scotland. I never got to go very far. All my caps were in Scotland, and we travelled down to wherever it was on the bus with the boys. And this was one of my biting memories of the trip. And the boys got handed out tracksuits, vests, spike bags, shorts that they could keep and take away, and we girls got nothing.
Yeah.
We got vests that we had to give back. They actually didn't have enough vests. I had to have one of the men's vests, and we had to give them back. So that was a bit of a downer, although I don't remember it being a downer at the time particularly. But I mean, it was a great day. We had a lot of fun. My coach was there actually to that trip. He didn't always come away with stuff, but he was there on that trip, which was brilliant. It was great fun. It wasn't. I don't think it was nearly as professional in those days, perhaps, as it is now.
Yeah.
So,
Looking at what you said there, and it kind of shocked me a bit, but then it shows how far the sport and all sports have kind of come. So
yes, quality terms. Yeah, they just couldn't get away with that these days.
Yeah.
It was mad.
Yeah. You talked about your coach there, and obviously now you're coaching Jersey's youngsters. Is that something you always wanted to do? Do you remember the first time you kind of took a step into coaching?
When I was pregnant with my daughter and I'd stopped running through injury, I thought I'd get into coaching, and I did my assistant coach course. But then I had my daughter, and life with little kids is busy, and it was only really when my son was interested in coming, doing a bit of athletics. You know what the kids are like, you want them to try a little bit of everything. So he was interested in coming to Spartans, and we came, and I helped. I said, "Oh, I'll help taking the register if you want." And then and said, "Oh, you could volunteer." I said, "Oh, well, I think I've got an assistant coach qualification." And so you end up being roped in, and I think doing it with the minis is such a good introduction. the little kids, they start at 8 and they're just so keen and enthusiastic. And we were based at Langford then. We're doing sports hall athletics, which is just such good fun. And it was great. And I don't think prior to that I'd ever really thought of coaching.
Yeah.
And then I took some of the juniors were leaving minis and needed a coach in the junior section. So me and one of the other coaches, Tara, we'd done our athletics coach qualification, and we both took groups of athletes into the junior section and kind of grew with our coaches. So as they were young, I was learning my coaching practice, and hoping that I just could stay a few steps ahead of them before they started asking me difficult questions like, why are we doing this, Becs?
Yeah.
And when I could answer. So I hadn't really thought, not that it's something you fall into because your kids are doing it. But then I had two main coaches in my career, and they gave up so much. So you kind of want to give back for all the time that they gave up for you. You don't kind of appreciate, when you're an athlete, you do not at all appreciate how much effort goes into session planning, annual plans, going away on trips, all of this, that you just don't see that at all. And I was lucky. I was still in touch with both of my coaches, particularly the Mr. B, who coached me in Glasgow. And I remember having conversations with him saying, "Oh God, I so more appreciate you now than I ever did when I was an athlete."
Yeah. You're talking about your coaches from the past. Do you see, even in the people that you've coached with, do you see different their styles coming into your kind of style of coaching, or is yours completely unique to anyone? Do you look up to anyone, basically?
We've obviously got some great coaches at the club, who mentor and give advice. So Pete Irving is excellent, obviously expert in sprints and a very high quality. I was going to say ex-athlete, he's still an athlete himself. And Kat Halden, she's a very experienced coach as well. And these are the people that I would go to ask for advice and to run ideas off. And when I was coming through, Paula and Tara and Chris, all of these guys are the people. I think you look up to anybody who's another volunteer coach. I have the opportunity to go to the youth talent program, and so I'm learning from other more experienced coaches than me, who coach sprints within England athletics and other groups, and a lot of them are ex-Olympians, which is very exciting. I met Donovan Reid the other week. I was a little bit starstruck.
Yeah,
it was fab. So these are the people that when you tend to steal ideas from everybody. You think, oh, that's good. And what I find is when you're listening and seeing other people's coach, you think, that's a really good, especially coaching cues, the language you use, because you can be a bit set in your ways with the language you use, the drills you do, and it's good. Oh, that's a really good idea. My guys would enjoy that, or that's really fun, because even though the guys I coach are 15, 16, 17 or whatever, you still want to try and make it fun. And I forget that sometimes. Try and keep them smiling.
Yeah, exactly. And you've named a fair few there over the years, and even now when I go and take photos, you see all the parents and what have you being timekeepers, at the sandpit and everything. How important are they and every single volunteer involved in a club like Jersey Spartans? How key are they?
Oh my gosh, unbelievably key. The club is run entirely by unpaid volunteers, and we couldn't do it without them. And it takes a huge amount of volunteers. Obviously my focus is track and field, but I think the same is for the road races and the cross country races that other people organise. It takes a huge amount of volunteers. To get those races licensed, we need qualified volunteers. So it's not just a matter of showing up on the day. And we have people that do that, and that's brilliant as well. But for an awful lot of volunteers, they've had to do a course, they've had to go off island to get experiences. and we just couldn't do without them. And we always need more. We always need more volunteers. England Athletics constantly update their health and safety requirements for running all our events. So we constantly need more volunteers. And it's not, we don't always want volunteers. We don't always not want, we always want volunteers. We don't need volunteers who will coach, 3 times a week. If somebody wants to coach once a week, that's brilliant. If somebody wants to just do a task that takes a few months, like, we've had a lot of volunteers helping us do a little bit of work in the clubhouse at the moment, but, short-term tasks, sort this out, help us organise that. Things that mean that people can get involved if they want to get involved, but it's not a full-time, every evening job type thing. So there's a little job for everybody. We could really do with somebody to help with their social media at the moment. Fundraising. No, we have somebody who's helping with fundraising. But lots of things like that are really valuable to us.
Yeah. It's incredible just the amount of people you see down at the club. And this is on event days, but they're there training days. They're there in the dark, where all these other days as well. And that's what people don't see. I want to move on just slightly. We'll come back to the club and what it means to you and everything in a few minutes. But I want to look at your kind of elite athletes and what they've achieved in recent years. And obviously, one key event that stood out to everyone on the island is the Island Games. How good was that week for you guys, for you personally, to go over there and enjoy the event? And how do you look back at it?
Oh, it was fabulous. It was sunny for most of the time, which really helped. I think the team got on really well with each other. Everybody got on really well, and there's a big range for age groups. We've got some, school kids. I think the youngest was probably Lucy Cohu, and then you've got very, very experienced athletes like Pete. And what I saw, which was brilliant, was all the older athletes mentoring the younger athletes. We had quite a lot of athletes who'd not been to the games before. So, but everybody was looking out for each other. Everybody was encouraging each other and supporting each other, even when they're in the same events. So I thought that was absolutely fabulous. We all had such a good fun week. I know we were working hard. It was the first time I'd done any team management. So that was really, really good fun for me. I got a chance to do some help with the starting as well, which was great while I was over there. So it was just a fabulous week, and the team performed superbly. I think almost everybody in the team, got a placing or a medal or a PB, one of those things. And there were just some fabulous and really exciting performances. The sprinters did really well. In both the relays, male and female relays, the male sprinters did particularly well. We did well on the road, and we did great actually. Overall, I think it was the best medal haul for years and years. I can't remember quite the stats, but yeah, and the team should be and were rightly proud of themselves. They really, really did well. It was a superb performance, and we're looking forward to doing the same again, if not better, in Orkney, although it might not be quite as warm.
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on something you said then, the older athletes helping the younger ones and everyone being together and happy and enjoying each other's company. And in sport, family comes up so much, and especially within teams and clubs. And is that something you describe Jersey Spartans and those involved and how close they are?
Yeah.
Is it totally a family?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And because of the storm, we're only just back for a couple of weeks now training at FB Fields. We haven't been allowed to because it hasn't been safe. And so it's been really weird. We've had, nearly 8 weeks where you weren't seeing the same people, 3 or 4 times a week. And you're thinking, it's been very odd because it's not normal. So yes, it is. And, like at any family, you don't get on with everybody all the time. But we work through any differences we have. We work through, and we do disagree. lots of the coaches, some of the coaches have quite different coaching philosophies, but we agree to disagree, and everybody respects everybody else. I think that's the key thing. We all respect what everybody else is doing. We don't all have the same opinions, but actually it would be very boring if we did. And actually I don't think the culture of the club would grow if we all thought the same. We need to have people coming from different perspectives and challenging each other to do what's best for the club. So that's, but it definitely is a family. These are people you see, 3-4 times a week.
Yeah. I agree. Good. I agree, and it's clear to see whenever I'm at the club, it's that everyone loves everyone and has a good time. So it's good, and that's so key in sport. What I want to touch on is obviously other events have happened this year, and what have you gone to England? Other people have gone further afield, and how was last year, should I say now? How was 2023 for Spartans as a whole?
It was hugely successful, I think. When we talk about just numbers, so there's lots of things that have been happening. COVID for some sports wasn't good. We were lucky because we could still be outside, all in smaller groups, and we changed some things up. And so we've got a really strong junior section, particularly in the minis. Lots and lots of, we've got a waiting list. We need more coaches. We could have a lot more athletes coming through, and it's just coaching numbers that unfortunately prevent that. So that's really good. We've got a really healthy pipeline of keen athletes who want to come through. We've got what I thought was really good this year, and I'm not sure that I'd noticed it in other years, was senior athletes who've gone off to uni. More of them, I've seen more of them this last year coming back to train with the club in the holidays.
Yeah.
Even though they've got their own coaches back at uni now, they're in other coaching groups, but they're still coming back to train with their coaching groups when they're back on the island, which I think is a real sign of strong connections within the club in the older age groups. We've got some new volunteers in the road running side. So our road running side, we've got a pile of other volunteers who are helping Dave and Glenn promote our road running races, get them licensed. So that's really growing as well. We've been doing some great collaboration with, particularly with Rock and Road. We put on a little track event with them, Night of the 5,000 PBs, which was great fun, really good fun. And we want to develop that with these guys in the future. But also just with other running groups on the island. Jersey Sport have been helping bringing us all together, so we can collaborate a bit better, make sure our dates don't clash, and that thing, which I think just for athletics on the island is really good. And we've got more athletes going on more trips. We've got more athletes competing in our track and field events in the summer. The Advisor Cross Country Series is still so successful. What we'd like to see is more non-Spartans athletes, school kids coming to our track and field events. They definitely do come to the cross country events, but they can come to track and field as well. All of our events are open to everyone, so we just want to see more people getting involved. So I think from that perspective, it's been really good. We've been doing a bit of work on the clubhouse to develop our indoor area, so we've got a better indoor area. So so much has been happening this year. It's been hugely successful. I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I've been careful. I don't want to name drop too many people, and I'm not going to name drop anyone because I feel like if I start name dropping, I'm going to miss people out. But there's so many good, talented, both runners and athletes around at your club, and how bright is the future for Spartans and your athletes?
I think it's really bright. I think they see the senior athletes do well and stay training after school, and I think that's really important because your athletes are only going to be best when they're it's a late specialisation sport. Once they're fully mature, that's when we're going to get the best out of them. So as a coach, certainly of junior athletes, you want your athlete to still be into athletics in any way, past school, past college or uni, or even when they're working. And so we've got quite a few talented youngsters coming through who are, who have been over the last few years starting to show their talent, around 15, 16, 17, when it starts to matter, post puberty. We've got 3 athletes who are currently enrolled in talent programs in the UK, the youth talent program, which is superb. I don't know, these things kind of change over the years, but I don't know that we've ever had, certainly in my recent experience, we haven't had that many. We've just got so many good athletes. We've got good youngsters coming through. But I think for me, it's not just about the talented athletes. It's about, all the athletes who want to keep training hard to improve themselves. It doesn't matter whether you're last in the race, but if you're last in the race, but you're, I was going to say half a second faster, but if you're half a second faster than you were last season over the season, it's all those athletes that just want to improve every year. Yeah, but yeah, I think we've got some great. Yeah, you're right. I could name names, but I won't, because that would take far too long. But we do have some great talented athletes coming through, and that's really exciting, because they then are an inspiration. When some of the athletes came home from the Island Games, they came down to minis and showed off their medals, and that's an inspiration to the minis, so that they can say, well, that's something I would like to do in the future. And my athletes have said that in previous years. I want to get to the Island Games, and then those athletes have got to the Island Games, so they've achieved that, and they see the older athletes doing it, and the older athletes going away to the Commonwealth Games or the Youth Commonwealth Games, and being successful and having fun. And I think that really inspires everybody. And I think, success breeds success. So you've got a bit of success on the road, a bit of success in the country, a bit of success on the track, and it want more people. And there's other athletes coming through. I'm thinking of them through my head now that I'm hoping that next year we'll have somebody else on the talent program, 1 or 2 other people on the talent programs, which would be brilliant. So it is. Yeah, it's looking bright, I think.
Good. And I want to touch on yourself as a coach, going back to that, and you touched on it there, saying there's kids who said they wanted to go to the Iron Games, and then they've done it now. How much do you enjoy the progression, and then them reaching their kind of goal of going to the Iron Games and maybe even medaling if they've medalled, or what have you? How much do you enjoy that side of things?
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I don't think I get so nervous. I mean, it's terrible. I'm there. The Island Games was great, but I expend so much energy being so nervous every time one of my athletes, or actually anybody in the team, but particularly when you've got your own athletes, it's really hard, because you so want them to be successful. And one of my athletes, who didn't medal, but achieved what they wanted to achieve in their race, and was just absolutely delighted with their performance in that race. That's one of the memories that I take back from the Island Games. They came off the track and talked to me and said, that was the best race I've ever run, because I did this. I know my time. I'm frustrated with the time, but it was windy, so that's okay. But I felt in myself that it was the best race I've ever. And as a coach, what more can you want? You've got happy athletes. It's hard when your athletes perhaps haven't performed as well as they might like, or something hasn't gone quite as well. But when it all clicks, it's just an amazing feeling, and you're so lucky to have been, to have had even a small part of that. I mean, I'm just so grateful I get to, relive all that excitement through them, except without doing the training.
Yeah, absolutely. Last few questions for me today, and points, and I wanted to touch on obviously a few of them have got a bit of a TikTok channel going now.
Yes, that's not official. It's not official Spartans channel.
It's not official to Spartans, but how good has that side? have you seen much of it, and how good is it been seeing that side of things, having a bit of fun whilst they're training?
I don't have TikTok. I'm in my 50s. I just do Facebook, and that's why we need social media help. So if they could clean it up a bit and we could rebadge it as Spartans, that'd be great. But yes, the guys, I know it's very popular. Everybody talks about it. They've got lots of followers, and yeah, it's good. It's great. And if we could have somebody that could do that a bit more for the club as a whole, then that would be absolutely amazing. I think social media is much more important for the youngsters, and that's why we need a youngster managing that, because at the moment it's a 50-year-old woman who just does Facebook, who's doing a lot of the track and field stuff, and that's not what we need. We need someone who knows how all these, I know how all these channels work, but who's got the time and effort and energy to do it really well. But yeah, it's fun. I know I appear in a few of them, but yes, it is fun, and the guys are having great fun doing it, which adds to the fun element of training, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah.
They're working hard. They're having fun.
Absolutely, it's good to watch as well. It is good to watch. I'll give it to them. And you're right, social media is vital nowadays. So, yeah. Last kind of question. You've touched on it a lot about wanting more volunteers, wanting volunteers for various things as well. And
yeah.
But Jersey Spartans as a whole, how would you describe its kind of impact and influence on your life, and how much it means to you, and why should people join the community that is Jersey Spartans?
So for me personally, I've made great friends. Not that anybody needs to join Spartans to make friends, but we've got such a good community. Whether you're in the road running committee or the executive committee, or you're one of the officials, the best place to be, the most fun place to be an official is on the timekeeping stand, especially when Gary's there, because he's always full of fun and games. That is the fun, and it's just such fun. It's obviously serious, and you've kind of got to be a little bit serious sometimes when you're doing the officiating. But it's got to be fun. It's got to be fun for the kids, and seeing the kids compete and have fun is that giving back. It's amazing the feeling it gives to you. Everybody says you don't volunteer entirely to give back. You've got to get something out of it yourself, and that's what I get out of it. That sense of community, the friendships that I've made that I know will last well past some of the volunteers giving up their involvement with the club, but also to know that you've made a difference in some athlete's career, and whether that athlete stays with Spartans or not. There's lots of athletes that are successful in other sports in the island, and I think, oh yeah, they were at Minis. Oh, I trained them for a bit. Oh yeah, and it's lovely to think that you had a small part to play in their athletic and sporting career, because what we do at Spartans, you're learning to run, jump, and throw. What sports don't involve that?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Bex. This has been really enjoyable. I've loved talking to you and reminiscing about the past and looking forward to the future. So thank you for your time, and good luck to Spartans in the future as well.
Thanks very much. My favourite subject, Spartans. I've been talking to you for half an hour. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you for your time, and thank you as well to everyone that's watched or listened to this episode. Another episode is coming shortly.